So, welcome everyone. Thank you for joining. I'm going to give you a brief explanation of what the Crown platform is and what we're doing. I only have 15 minutes, so I don't have too much time to go into the details, but I'm going to try to rush you through it. So let's start with an overview of what we're going to talk about. First of all, I'm going to speak about who we are, what Crown is, who the team is, what our history is, so I'll give you a quick overview of how we came to where we are now. The technical specifications currently, then we're going to into what we are building, which is our platform. And then I'm going to give you an overview again of what's next on the agenda, like a roadmap. So first of all, a brief summary of Crown is Crown is building a self-sustaining and self-regulating blockchain platform governed by its community. And like our kind of tagline is providing businesses and individuals the ability to register their identities and build applications on top of the Crown blockchain. And I'll try to explain to you what this is during this presentation, but if you have any questions, please ask them afterwards. So let's talk about our team. We have a team of about 20 people currently who are based all over the world. It consists of blockchain pioneers, cryptography experts, business developers, marketeers, and community managers like me. So I am Alex Hogebrugge, also known as Hirebridge. I'm the community manager. On the current website, I am still stated as Ambassador Western Europe. So then we have Oya, Rise and Shine. She's in the back there. She's our newest addition to the team, actually. We only introduced her officially this week. She will be our events co-lead, so she will be events manager. That's why she's here as well, and she will be a general ambassador. Then we have Roderick, also known as Twister, who is in the back. He's our marketing, kind of marketing expert and marketing co-lead, and he's our ambassador as well. There's Alexander, he's all the way in the corner over there in the back. He's our support team co-lead, so he works tirelessly with a few other people to provide support to any people who need help setting up a masternode or a system node or installing a wallet. And really big shout out to you guys, because you unload, you carry a load of my shoulders so much, which I used to do a lot of it. And then there's Inigo, also known as Matt Black, who is a web dev and founder of NodeSupply.com. So they host our Crown master nodes and system nodes as well. And they do a lot of the work for you. Let's go into the history now. So Crown was founded in 2014 as Crown Coin back then. And it was basically just a blockchain or a Bitcoin fork. And it was kind of stagnant in 2015. Nothing much happened. There wasn't much interest. But in 2016, some new people got involved with the team. A lot of people who had been in the space for years, people who had worked with Dash before, for instance. And kind of the idea of the Crown kind of platform, what we're building now, came to exist in 2016, 2017. And from then onward, we've been kind of tirelessly working on developing and conceptualizing that platform. Then in 2017, we started actually, building the team out more, expanding our code base, fixing a lot of bugs, because, as I said, we were a Bitcoin fork. Then we implemented Dash features, but Dash is the code we have, at least, is very buggy still. So a lot of work needs to be done on solving that. We introduced system nodes, which are a second type of master node, but instead of 10,000 Crown, you only need 500. And they serve a function, which I'll shortly get into afterwards. And then what do we have planned for 2018? Well, development of the platform. We plan on moving away from proof of work, for those of you who know what it is. And we have much more in store. So let's talk about our current technical specifications. I say current because, as I say, we're still developing, and there might be some changes to it. What won't change is the token. We have a 42 million supply or supply cap, of which currently 18 million approximately are in circulation, which is currently, and what we're planning on changing is currently we're merge mined with Bitcoin as a SHA-256 algorithm, and then for difficulty we have Dark Gravity Wave 3 for those who are interested. and our block time is 60 seconds. That's just like minor details, but some people might find it interesting. You have some other features like the master nodes for 10,000 crown and system nodes for 500 crown. And then one thing we're really happy about is our decentralized governance, in which 43,000 crown is available monthly. And people can submit a proposal if they think, I want to do marketing for crown, or I want to do maybe some GitHub commits, or I want to create a cool video like Oya did recently. They can submit a proposal and the community gets a vote in what gets funded and not. So our development direction, so what we put our emphasis on, is governed by our community, and that's something we think is really important for a decentralized project. So, I skipped the slide. So that brings us to the platform. This was just a short overview of where we are now. And the platform is something we're still conceptualizing and building. So it's not there yet, but it will be there hopefully by the end of this year. We'll have a proof of concept, and we want to have the first people using it by then. So what about the platform? There are 4 key features about the platform, which I'll try to walk you through kind of very quickly, because again, I don't have the time. But first part of it is identity registration. And this is something a lot of projects are working on, solving. How do you store identity on the blockchain? How do you have people register the identities? Keep skipping. Okay. So we want to allow individuals or businesses to register their identity on the blockchain, but it's not just that. I mean, there are a lot of projects that are just focusing on that. For us, it's part of a bigger plan, because we want to build this platform which contains decentralized economy apps, and that's kind of like a weird term which doesn't say much on its own. But what these economy apps are supposed to do is we want to build an application platform where those verified individuals or businesses can build an application, tie it through an API, so a programming interface, to the blockchain, and host a business. And this can be anything. You're purely limited by your imagination. This could be, imagine I've written an ebook that says, or that with the title, what's Bitcoin and how to avoid getting wrecked in a bear market or something. It could be you want to create a marketplace, or with so many people moving away from Facebook, you could build an entire new Facebook. It's all up to you. These apps, or this API will allow these apps to use an API for payments, so easy payments through the blockchain, timestamping on the blockchain, and these identity registrations. And these 3 kind of main functions serve a purpose to create this platform we have in mind. One key feature of that is scalability through distribution, because if you just have these applications will be hosted on a system node. That's why we have them. They are 500 crown each, but imagine you can't afford 500 crown for some reason. You're this independent book publisher who just barely scrapes by, and you can't afford to invest that money to buy a system node. We want people to be able to build something, but we also want those people who have the means and the funds to be able to accept someone who has built something and host it on their system node. So here there's a nice kind of interaction between these 2 parties. You can either build something and host it yourself, or you can have someone host it for you. But I mean, for an ebook, that's easy. Then just one server is enough. But say you want to build this new Facebook, that's not enough then to just have one server. So what we're thinking is we want to have implement distributed storage solutions and distributed processing solutions. So you could easily maybe integrate 10 or 20 or 50 or 100 system nodes into building a platform as big as you want, or a business as big as you want, without being limited. So any business should be able to host their application, be it big or small. And then in this current market, there are a lot of privacy coins. Regulations are very difficult, very vague. We're not sure where regulations are headed, but we want to be there. We want to sustain. We want to be there in 15, 20, 50 years or whatever. I mean, you never know, but one part of it that we can at least do to make sure we are there for the long term is make it self-regulating. And how we imagine that working is you can either, like I said, choose to build or host or do both. But if you decide to maybe host illicit content, that could be like a gambling site, could be considered illicit content in some countries. If you're hosting or building an application, you need to abide by your local laws and by the regulations of where your node is hosted. And if you don't do either of those, or you don't do both of those actually, the network can, you can be reported to the network, and the network can actually reject you as being a bad actor. If that happens, the identity you have registered on the blockchain will be blacklisted, and you won't be able to host applications in the future anymore. And I think that's one way to alleviate like the stress of regulation on the platform itself, but give it out to the network and make sure everyone, you know, does their share of good work and reports things that are bad and make it an as legally compliant platform as possible. So that was like really quick overview of the platform, as quick as I can give it basically. And we'll go through it step by step to kind of help you visualize this. So the first step is you create a business idea in your head. I want to publish an ebook, for example, or something that just has use of blockchain technology in your head anyway. The second step is registering your identity to the blockchain. The third step is developing the application or the business through this API. Then you can either decide to host your own application or if someone else hosts it for you. And the last step is, or the last step and then forwards, is anything legal can be hosted indefinitely on this network, and the bad actors get banned. So what's next? We've developed what I think is the easiest masternode and systemnode setup in the entire crypto space, and we really want to stay ahead of the curve in that area. So I'll give you like a short video, I think it's 2 minutes, I know it's 2 minutes, of how a masternode and systemnode setup works. This is systemnode in this case. Could you click play? Thank you very much. So walk you through it, it's a bit small. This is a testnet wallet in this case. You go to the System Nodes tab here and you click New System Nodes in the bottom, or New System Node. You have an IP for your node. You copy that and you paste that into the box that pops up, and you just give it a name, in this case SN01 or System Node 01. The wallet then will automatically send a transaction of 500 crown for you, as you can see here, and it will generate a private key for you, which you can just copy and paste in your text file. You don't even really need that, but just for clarity's sake, I've done it here. In the meantime, the transaction takes a few minutes to process. Until that's done, you can start by preparing your VPS or your server. So this is, I mean, you don't need to remember this. There's a whole forum post, which you'll see in a few seconds. I'm now just logging into my VPS. So this is the forum post I was talking about. It's a Crown forum, and all of these steps are detailed here. It's actually written by Epoch Mora, who's in the back there. On this forum post, this is a small line of code, or like a large line of code, but it does everything for you. You copy that and paste it into your VPS again. Then you see this node private key there, which I copied earlier. I'm going to place that at the end. I'm just copying it and pasting it there. I press enter, and all of it is done for me. I just have to wait for that to be done, for my transaction to be done. So I'm checking it now. It has all the required transactions. There's a nice like check mark besides it. Then I right click my node and I press start alias, and I wait a few minutes, and that's it. It says successfully started system node. I've kind of skipped a few minutes of waiting. I check it on my VPS and it will say that the system node is activated and running. And that's basically how easy it is. So I've skipped the waiting parts, but everything you need to do, you need to like click or type, is done within 2 minutes. This video is 2 minutes. That's how easy it is. So that's what I mean by staying ahead of the curve in having the easiest master and system node setup. I mean, it might, if you've never seen this before, it might seem a bit complicated, but if you compare it to other nodes where they have guides of 20 pages or 25 pages or like whole different setup systems, we're really happy with this. Second point, what we have in store for the future is a new website, which is actually, we plan on releasing it on Monday. So that's actually very soon, so keep an eye out on that. Then we have, actually while writing this, Electrum integration was done. So we now have an Electrum wallet like Bitcoin has. You don't have to store the entire Crown blockchain anymore. And with that comes Trezor integration, which will be there in a few weeks as well. Then development of the platform, of course, which is primary focus for us. It's our pride and joy, and that's always going on day and night. And then, like I kind of touched upon earlier, we're moving away from proof of work to something that's faster, a lot faster, less vulnerable to 51% attacks like proof of work has very strongly. But most importantly, proof of work isn't ecologically actually sustainable, which is something, you know, like I said, we want to be a sustainable platform. We want to be there in 10, 20 years, and we don't want to ruin the earth in the meantime. So right now, being a Bitcoin merge mine is good for us. It brings us attention. It helps for people who want to get into mining, but in the long term, we want to move away from that. So then finally, that's actually the end. I want to give you our contact details, so a few stuff you might like. That's our website, crown.tech. It says here on the banner. We'll have it there for you. Our Twitter account, we have a Mattermost, which is kind of like a Slack alternative, but more privacy friendly and open source. There's a Telegram, which is just /crown platform, and crown.link/discord brings you to our Discord, which is linked to Mattermost. And that actually brings me to the end of it. Thank you all so very much. And if you have any questions, I'm here.
I've got a question. You say, let's say you're a book publisher and you don't have the funds to buy a note for yourself for 500 crowns. Somebody else can host a system note for you. Yep. So how do you get in contact with those people? Let's say you want to make the new Facebook, and is there an easy way to get in contact with the people?
So to get in touch with someone, I mean, we don't have a system for that, but we might create an interface of people who are just, you know, providing nodes or providing storage or providing processing power. We plan to make that as easy as possible as well, but in the beginning it will probably just be, you know, you go into our chat and you find someone. There'll always be someone. But we really actually plan to create a nice interface for it where you can just have a few clicks and have a contract automatically signed with your private key or something, and have it from the other side as well, and it being that easy.
Any more questions? I see your hand here.
So when it comes to hosting content and all that, how do you deal with GDPR compliance?
GDPR compliance, could you explain it to me?
General Data Protection Regulation.
Okay, so that's up to the place where you are located yourself and where your node is hosted. So any regulations, be it about illegal content, but also data protection, that depends on where you are and where your node is hosted. And if you don't comply with both of those, you can't properly use the network.
But the content gets distributed to other nodes too, right?
Yes. Well, and if you decide to have a distributed storage solution, you have to comply with all the laws of those. Like the same goes for Facebook. You know, if they have their storage servers in the Netherlands and the US and in Belgium or whatever, they have to comply with rules for all of those, and it will be the same for us.
So it's basically up to the end user to make sure that they comply.
It's up to the network, so it could be up to the end user, but the network is kind of a really general term, so that includes the user. It includes anyone who is active on the network, be it just as a user or as a hoster or as a builder. And if you see anything, especially if you're a hoster and you're hosting an application by someone else, and you see that's not legally compliant, you can just cut off their access and say, I'm not hosting this because this is not compliant. So
Yeah, but
if I keep hosting this, I'll be in violation as well.
yeah, but it's not really about the content. It's more about the location of where it's hosted.
Yeah.
So can you somehow, yeah, basically predefine where your content is going to be at?
We should do, yeah.
Okay.
So, like I said, that it's still in the conceptual phase, but we plan on like finding finding a hoster, seeing where the hoster is located, maybe seeing how the reputation is or something like that.
Okay.
But we plan on making that all as easy as possible. Yeah.
And I have one totally unrelated question. So if you're switching away from proof of work, what are you switching to? Proof of stake? Or?
We might switch to proof of stake in the meantime, but we have what we call the third way solution. And we can't talk about it that much because we're a bit scared of other people stealing it. Because we think it could be a game changer, but we really need to, I mean, it's still concept right now. We need to work it out fully, have it peer reviewed, have it rigorously tested. It's just more an indication of we want to move away from proof of work. And it will probably be the third way, but we might have an interim solution with proof of stake.
Yeah,
like
what
regular
you
proof of
described
stake.
sounds very interesting. So I'll be watching.
Thank you. Any other questions? Okay.
Thanks a lot,
Thank you very
Alex.
much. I have one last point. If you join us at our stand, which we're probably over there, if you download the CrownPay mobile wallet, so just search for CrownPay on your iOS or Android store, and we'll give you some free crown. So I hope to see you there. We are recognized by our stickers. Don't trust anyone else. Thank you very much.